UFC went absolutely crazy with fight announcements a couple days ago, and the entire UFC Seattle card is finally here. The main event, Henry Cejudo versus Song Yadong, got announced. The co-main event, Rob Font, I can't even fucking say it without laughing. Rob Font versus Dominic Cruz got announced as well, and there's other fights on the card, top to bottom, and there's really fun matchups spread throughout. Seattle, you lucky bastards. Okay, and I just want to say, man, people are shitting on this card like crazy, and I understand that some of the matchups are questionable, but guys, I think this is a stacked fight night, and they're finally kind of treating, the US fight cards. They're going back to a bunch of the states this year, hopefully. And if they're booking them all like this, I think that's pretty good. So today we're basically going to be going over the main and the co-main, doing an early fight breakdown of that. And we're also going to be touching on a few other fights of the card, kind of like an early fight night preview, if you will. So let's talk about the main event. Okay, Henry Cejudo. Hey man, you want to talk down to me? You want to talk to the flyweight champ boost? Is facing Song Yadong. We haven't seen Cejudo in the cage since last February, I believe, against Merab Dvalishvili. So it's been about a year off, and I feel like that's going to be the biggest question going into this fight, is how is Cejudo going to be doing getting older and older in age? How's he going to be doing with just more rust? As if the 3 years off in the middle of his prime wasn't enough, and now it's just more and more, and you got to question, like, against a guy like Song Yadong, who's relatively active and has been facing kind of like, I don't want to say always top level competition, because there was the Ricky Simones and the Chris Gutierrez and all that shit, but Song Yadong, he's going to bring forward, I feel like, a different kind of pace and tenacity. And Cejudo, he did well against Aljo, and he did win the first round, or at least look very, very good in the first round against Merab. So don't get me wrong, like, he hasn't gone into the past couple fights and just been completely fucking washed. We all know the skill set of Cejudo. He is legit. You know what, man? It's easy to forget. People forget, man. Like I'm saying, the age of Cejudo and the time off, I feel like, are going to be the biggest factors holding him back. Because stylistically, when I look at this matchup and I think about it a couple years ago, 2 years ago maybe, I definitely would be going with Cejudo in this one. Even 1 year ago, I'd probably be leaning with Cejudo. And again, I'm not going to make a final pick yet, but I'm definitely going to be leaning towards Song Yadong in this one. I feel like there were talks to Cejudo going back down to flyweight as well. But I feel like a lot of us were like really kind of concerned if that weight cut was even going to be possible anymore because of the years off. Cejudo had kind of bulked up a bit, and like, yeah, he was able to make 35, okay, but like going back down to flyweight would have been interesting, but I guess it's not going to be happening, or Cejudo just kind of decided not to make that choice. You know what? As much as I kind of disagree with the co-main being made, I actually do like this fight. I don't really understand why people are shitting on this one as much, to be honest with you, because when I'm looking at the potential opponents that Cejudo could face at bantamweight, I mean, I feel like Song Yadong is kind of one of the upper ones that makes sense. But actually going back and talking about the breakdown of the matchup, like I said, how is the rust gonna affect Cejudo? Because Song Yadong has been making slow and ever improving improvements. Wait, that doesn't make any fucking sense. Song Yadong has been making improvements in his game slowly but surely. There we go. Over the past couple years, he kind of started off, he was very, very young into the game, started out into the sport, early 20s, and he's been slowly kind of getting older and older, gaining more experience against top level competition, adding in wrestling. Now he's not just primarily a striker anymore. He knows how to kind of mix it up better than he used to be. The thing about Song Yadong is that he's one of those guys where, like, when he loses, it's basically to that elite competition. Like, he lost to Corey Sandhagen, he lost to Piotr Jan, he lost to Kyler Phillips. Okay, well, like, basically, if Song Yadong loses, it's going to be to someone who is either very, very elite or is riding a lot of hype. And again, if this was a couple years ago, stylistically, I would be favoring Cejudo, but when I'm looking at the improvements that Song Yadong's been making, when I look at how the takedown defense is solid, even how he's implementing takedowns on guys now, and his striking has been improving, he used to kind of just swing for the fucking fences, put on a fucking blindfold and just whatever the fuck happens. But now it seems like he's slowly turning into a bit more of a patient fighter. Don't get me wrong, he knows how to get in your face, and he knows how to bring forth a good pressure on the opponents and set a good pace, but the question is Cejudo going to be able to keep up with that tenacity? Because here's the thing, I know that Cejudo, we know how good Cejudo's wrestling is, obviously, it goes without saying, but people forget, man. But I feel like Cejudo, especially when he was kind of at his prime, when he finally reached the title and he was racking up the defenses, going up for the double champ status, like, he really was just evolving into a full-fledged striker at that point. Yeah, the wrestling was still good, and yeah, he knew how to mix it up well, but like, he was knocking dudes out and he was looking clean on the feet. Cejudo does have good striking. I feel like it's a very overlooked aspect in his game, but if he's able to keep up with the speed of Song Yadong, if he's able to keep up the pace and the pressure, I'm just gonna say this: whoever is able to dictate the pace of this fight and dictate where it goes, whether it be on the feet or on the ground, I think that's who's gonna win this fight. If Cejudo's gonna be able to go in there, he's able to keep up with Song's speed, he's able to mix it up, he's gonna throw in the takedowns and be able to efficiently hold Song Yadong down there, and when it gets to the striking exchange, he's able to get the better amount of them there. Even if we're able to see a bit of power from Cejudo, God forbid get a knockdown or some shit, I think that's how Cejudo's gonna be able to win this one. And the same goes for Song Yadong. If he's able to efficiently stuff those takedowns from Cejudo, if he's able to dictate the pace, like, I don't think Song Yadong is going to be shooting for takedowns in this one. Like, yeah, I said his wrestling's been improving, and yeah, he's kind of been shooting on previous opponents, but Cejudo, when I was kind of looking at the record of Song Yadong. Like, I definitely think that the wrestling caliber wise, this is probably the best wrestler that Song Yadong has faced. So it's going to be interesting to see how he handles it, and that's why I think he's probably going to be doing a lot more stuffing than shooting. But I see this fight going the distance, and again, I'm kind of leaning towards Song Yadong here. You know, he's a powerful striker, and he's been getting clean. Obviously, we're seeing a more patient face, but Cejudo does have a good chin, so I can't really see Cejudo getting rocked, nor can I really see Cejudo winning via a knockout here. Not that both of these guys can't do that, but I feel like this is a fight that I could see going the distance. I see this kind of going for 5 rounds. And while Cejudo has a lot more championship level experience, you know, kind of has that bit more of that 5-round experience, Song Yadong, you know, he has gone 5 rounds before. Granted, not nearly as much. And again, the competition level, it's like night and day. You know, Cejudo's 5 rounds are against like a Demetrius Johnson, and Song Yadong's 5 rounds are against Chris Gutierrez. So Cejudo got fucking dog walked by Merab in the grappling in those past couple rounds, in the last 2 rounds of their fight. But again, it's Merab, and he's on top of the fucking world right now. He's 1 win away from becoming the bantamweight GOAT. So again, that's the thing about Cejudo returning, is that you gotta wonder what would have happened if they didn't feed him Aljo, who was the champion at the time and was getting close to becoming a bantamweight GOAT if people didn't already have him there. And Merab, who again right now is becoming very, very close to that status, and he's the champion right now. Like, I just am worried about Cejudo in terms of all the time off, if he's going to be able to keep up. I could see this fight kind of going either way, but again, I'm probably going to be going with Song Yadong right off the top of my head right now. So let's just fucking talk about this co-main right here, man. Okay, every comment section I've seen, everyone's like, where's Aldo versus Cruz? What the fuck is this, the UFC? I know some people are shooting the idea that if Cruz wins this one and then Cejudo wins this one, you know, those two could face each other next, and I actually think that's pretty solid. But that's if Cejudo wins, and that's if Cruz wins. Like, I wouldn't really kind of want to see that fight right now, but honestly, he's come out here and he's kind of just said that he's doing this shit for shits and giggles, alright? He's just doing this to get another fight and probably wants a proper retirement fight, and that's fine. Like, I don't necessarily think that's gonna hold him back, but we're looking at a Cruz that's getting older and older each year, so this is gonna be a proper retirement fight for Cruz. But like, the Aldo fight would have been nice, okay? And I don't know why the UFC really passed that one up. Maybe Aldo wants another fight, maybe Cruz wanted another fight, maybe the timeline didn't just work out. I have no idea. It would have been a nice legend versus legend, old head versus old head matchup. I think Aldo would have smoked him, but still, like, Font is still in it, man. He's still an active fighter, and I feel like he's still getting wins. He just shut down Kyler Phillips, who was a massive favorite going into that fight, and we saw Kyler Phillips, you know, take over the first round, and Rob Font showed his experience and showed his skill set and threw all the tools in the arsenal, and I believe that he just has a new coach as well. It could be Sahabi, I could be tripping about that, but Rob Font right now, you know, basically, he's on a mission right now. He still has championship aspirations. He still wants big matchups. And for Cruz, like I said, it's just kind of shits and giggles, which again, like, it's fine if you want to do that. You want to just get your retirement fight in. You want to challenge yourself, fight someone in the top 10. I get it, but again, I don't really see Cruz winning this one. The age does concern me. Back in the day, man, people forget, man. But again, it's just concerning me because Cruz wasn't the biggest finisher in the world anyways. He didn't always bring forward like the most relentless pace and pressure. I think he's going to be able to do solid in this fight if he can avoid Rob's big punches and is able to kind of like, his chin does hold up. But I can honestly see a world where Font knocks him out in a round. I feel like Font is going to overwhelm him in the striking department here. And I think Cruz's only path to victory is winning it the distance. Like I said, he's never really been a big finisher, even in his prime. So I think winning the distance, and if it's a 5-rounder, that concerns me even more, because how is Cruz's, how is his fitness right now, man? Is he going to be able to even keep up that cardio and pace for those rounds? We're going to have to see. It's not like Cruz doesn't have a chance. There's definitely some people that are going to be picking Cruz for this one, but I think there were more winnable matchups for him, and I just think that like the division, it gets deeper and deeper every year, and the talent just gets higher and higher level. Not great matchmaking, but it is what it is, because again, if Cejudo wins and Cruz, God forbid, wins this one, decides he doesn't want to retire, I think Cejudo versus Cruz, the rematch, would be really solid, but I don't think we're ever going to even get to that point. Basically, the UFC fucked up pretty bad with this one. We all just wanted to see the Jose Aldo versus the Dominic Cruz fight. Like, if there was a clear next opponent for Jose Aldo, it was going to be Cruz at this point in his career, and you could say the exact same for Cruz with Aldo. Like, the UFC fucked this one up. It was the fight that the fans were asking for. You could even put it on literally the main card of a pay-per-view, and people would still be interested in it. Like, now it's just a thing where we're getting fucking Font, who's probably just going to knock out Cruz in a round, and now we're never going to get to see the Aldo versus Cruz. They're going to give Aldo another fucking prospect on the rise or some bullshit. So UFC flopped up this co-main pretty bad. The UFC fucked up this co-main pretty bad. I'm defending the main event. Like, I actually am pretty interested in the main event. I understand it could have been done better. Like, Song Yadong, you could have just given Song Yadong Rob Font, and boom, that's already, you know, that would have been better. But again, I don't think the main event is as worthy of getting as much shit as the co-main. Like, the co-main, it's rough. It's a rough fight, okay? Like, it's not exciting to a lot of people, and there was a clear next fight for Cruz that the UFC just fucking fumbled for I don't even know what reason. I think Font's just going to be able to smoke him in a round, and I think Cruz is probably just going to go full-time to commentary in the Apex after that. So, talking a little bit about the rest of the fights on this card, or at least kind of the big ones here. So, Brendan Allen versus Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. I'm huge on the Hernandez hype train, man, all right? I think this guy's going to go really far in the division, and especially when I'm looking at the rankings, when I'm looking at a lot of the matchups that this guy is potentially going to face, I really like Hernandez's chances, okay? And Allen, I feel like, is just going to be that stepping stone. He's coming off a rough loss in Nasruddin Imavov, and you know Imavov fucked him up when Allen looked better in the striking department than the grappling in that one. Allen was shooting for his life in that one, and just landed face first onto the fucking canvas. It was a rough loss, but you know what? I like that he's kind of making a solid turnaround, and he's not just facing some fucking jabroni kind of to just get the win streak going. All right, let's run it back with a trilogy with Chris Curtis. Like, this is a solid fight, but unfortunately, I do think that Hernandez is just going to go out there and smoke him because Allen, primarily a grappler, and he does have good grappling, but Hernandez is a motherfucker in the grappling. But the difference is Allen, I feel like, is a lot more of like a patient grappler, not always really looking for the finish or looking to just take him out of there right out there, not really bringing forth a relentless pace. It's a lot more about control time for him. Not to say that he can't get finishes, he does have a solid amount, but Hernandez is just such a high level finisher in there. Like, when he goes at you, he's coming at you with everything he's fucking got. He's a great striker. I feel like the striking advantage is definitely going to be in the side on the Fluffy on this, or definitely going to be on Fluffy's side in this one. And I think that Hernandez can be able to take this one however he wants. I'm not trying to just shit on Allen, okay? Maybe I'm a little bit pressed because I did put money on Allen for the first time ever against Imavov, and he got fucked. So, but I feel like Hernandez can take this one however he wants. I feel like he's definitely going to be at least my probably lock of the card in my opinion. Moving on up next to Edson Barbosa versus Steve Garcia. Steve Garcia, man, is getting put on the map right now. He's riding a really good win streak right now, I believe all by knockout. So this is a great striker versus striker matchup. It's great to have on the main card. And again, you know what, Seattle, I'm fucking jealous of you bastards, but I'm happy for you because you get to see shit like this, man. It's a great fight to have in front of a crowd. It's definitely going to get him excited, especially if it's kind of like the main card opener or some shit like that. It's going to be interesting, man, because we're talking about fucking old heads, right? It's going to be interesting to see how Barbosa's doing because each year, man, he's getting older and older, and he's kind of putting over guys that you could argue a couple years ago maybe wouldn't have lost to. And Steve Garcia is really fucking dangerous, and Barbosa, while, you know, he is an amazing striker, and despite getting older and older, he's still quick and precise in there. I do see Garcia catching him. I feel like I'm going to be leaning towards a Garcia win here. Not really sure how he gets it done yet because, again, he's a powerful fucking striker, and he's riding a lot of momentum right now, and this is a big opportunity for him. I don't know if Barbosa's still ranked or not, but either way, like, when you're getting a recognizable name like that, and someone like Barbosa who's fought, you know, very elite competition, win or lose, and he's been in big main event spots and shit like that, and Steve Garcia, kind of a relatively unknown name to most people, it's a huge opportunity for him. I feel like he's going to be tenacious as fucking trying to get after it and take his lights out, and I could see Garcia, you know what, if the fight IQ isn't all the way there, or maybe he gasses out earlier, some shit like that, I could see Barbosa overwhelming him with the experience and really taking over the fight. But this is a great striker versus striker matchup, great fight to have on the main card. Curtis Blaydes is fighting the fucking Dagestani jabroni Kuniev. I don't even know what the fuck to say about this one, man. It's just really poor matchmaking, and I'd like to see Curtis Blaydes fight somebody that's like around that range in the rankings. Like, give him the winner of Rosenstruck and Pavlovich. So, like, even, like, I understand that would be a rematch, but it's something, like, up next for Blaydes that would be in the top 5 to 10 range. You can give him a Cyril Gane, give him an Alexander Volkov. I understand that, like, Blaydes already fought half the fucking people in the rankings already, but, like, what are we doing here, man? The Dagestani jabroni Kuniev. I really, really hope that Blaydes just goes out there and just fucking smokes him. I really do. Because if not, A, the heavyweight division is absolutely cooked, and B, I'm a Chicago guy, and Blaydes is a Chicago guy. I'm a little bit biased here. I want to see him win. Matchup stupid as fuck, and I really hope Blaydes just goes out there, and the division hopefully cannot get cooked. I swear to God, dude, if Blaydes loses to Kuniev, and then we get like a Sergey Spivak beating a Jailton Almeida, everything's fucked, okay? And now Volkov just got robbed against Gane. What if Jones never fights Aspinall? All right, everything could be fucked. Tybura's out here fraud checking motherfuckers. Like, oh my God, dude, heavyweight is rough. So Gene Silva is also on this card as well. The Fighting Nerds, obviously, were definitely the camp of the year in 2024, so obviously Silva and all those other guys are riding a lot of hype, and he's coming off a really good win over Drew Dober, and that was at lightweight. I like his chances, or I just like him at featherweight a lot more. I feel like comparatively size-wise, he's not the biggest guy if he was kind of to go up to lightweight. I know why he did it. It was sick as fuck to see. Got a badass win, and then turned around 2 weeks later, and then fought Dober on short notice, and then ended up winning by finish, so Silva's a motherfucker. I feel like a lot of us are high on the hype train for right now. He's a great striker. He's explosive in there, and he's young as well, man. Only 28 years old, so there's obviously a lot of time, or maybe not a lot of time, but there's time to improve for any holes that there are in this game. Obviously not the biggest grappler in the world, and obviously he's going to be a bit battle tested when it comes to facing big grapplers. And I know that probably a lot of people wouldn't have wanted to see him fight. Take this fight specifically, but I feel like it makes sense. We can't just give this guy somebody in the ring. He's kind of like right away. Let him give him a bit of time. All right, he's still young. He's a great talent to invest in. Bogdasar is solid, 8-2 record overall. But again, I feel like we're kind of just feeding Gene Silva someone here so that Gene Silva can kind of like get a big finish and win over the crowd, shit like that. And if Bogdasar wins, then everything's fucked, dude. But yeah, hopefully we can see a sick performance from Gene Silva. I'm glad he got to be on the main card for this one. We also have fights like Ion Kuptalaba versus Ibo Islam, which honestly is a pretty solid fight. I think Islam's gonna take that one via some kind of knockout. He's really putting Turkey on the map, man. I feel like any time, like when I saw like the comment section for any fucking thing with Ibo Islam, dude, the Turkish fight, the people take over, man. So Ibo Islam, it's something fresh for the division. So I hope he can get the win here. And Kuptalaba, I feel like it's just kind of that gatekeeper, kind of lingering outside the rankings. And we also have Mansur Abdul Malik facing Antonio Tricoli, and Tricoli is a jobber, yes, but Abdul Malik, he's somebody coming off the Contender Series, I believe 1-0 in the UFC, but the 1-0 he did have was relatively recently, and it was a sick win, and I feel like this guy could get a lot of hype behind him. So Tricoli is a jobber. He's, I think, like 0-2 or 0-3 in the UFC, and I definitely could see him losing this one here, and I do see him losing this one here. So that's just fucking something. So again, there's other kind of random matchups on the card as well, but it's a really stacked fight night card. And I get why some people are complaining about certain fights, but guys, all right, this is stacked, man. We gotta appreciate this shit, at least for the most part. I get that the co-main and a couple other things are kind of questionable, but fuck it. We have to, guys, we gotta look at where we're coming from last year, okay? The atrocious amount of awful fight cards, at least on paper. Some of them ended up going above and beyond and delivering, but like, we got a bunch of shit fight nights last year, man. When I'm looking at 2025 right now, and even the Apex cards are looking pretty solid right now. I'm not talking about the January 11th one. We're not fucking talking about that. But at least the cards that are kind of, being talked about right now, or a lot of the matchups already out for February and March, and again, even the Apex ones, like, they're pretty solid. And so I'm glad that the UFC's kind of taking going back to the States a lot more seriously, and they're actually putting on solid fight night cards with recognizable names, people in the rankings. I could see a lot of finishes throughout this one. So while there might be some holes in it, I'm pretty excited for it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thank you so very much for making it this far into the video. What do you guys think of the card? Do you fuck with it? Do you not fuck with it? Do you love the main or co-main? Do you fucking hate it? I don't know. Let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys so very much for making it this far into the video. All the smoke MMA. Appreciate it all a lot, and I will see you all next time.